Hello, everybody. We're in Guthrie, Oklahoma for the General Tire Sooner Showdown presented by R&L Carriers. Stop number 2 on the EnduroCross Series. Stop number 1 for the $50,000 Triple Crown. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is coming your way next.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour. I'm Larry Humpman and David Bailey with me, and down on the floor, it's Terry Boyd. From the Lazy Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma, it's Maxxis EnduroCross, presented by Lucas Oil Products. David Bailey, you made your mark in Supercross. This track, an eighth of a mile long. This is more like Supercross.
Much bigger arena here in Oklahoma. It's going to allow for longer straightaways, a little more time between the obstacles to get ready. Could favor the Supercross guys. The Triple Crown, whoever can win here tonight, again in Denver, and finally in Vegas for round 3, can win an extra $50,000. They're going to be going for it tonight.
But one man has to win all 3, David. Let's take a look back at the main event in Las Vegas. Much tighter track. Out in front in the main event goes Damon Huffman with the best name in Supercross, the same as mine. But look out, he tangles with number 4, Aaron.
Looked good early on for Damon Huffman, who led most of the heat, got hung up by lapped riders, but the KTM riders, Blazusiak and Aaron, number 4 on that two-wheel drive, you can see how tight this racetrack was, and it really fit their skill, being having the trials background.
Yeah, Aaron's an excellent trials rider, national champion multi-time. That's number 4, Jeff Aaron. On the inside, that's number 111, Taddy Blazusiak, the Polish Arrow.
He was the aggressor on this racetrack. He came all the way through the last chance qualifier, and although a couple little snags here in the rock pile, he finally got it together. Although losing the lead briefly, he fought back in the same exact spot, retook the lead, and that was it.
Blazusiak's tough. Number 111 on the inside. Aaron is all over the place. Aaron is about 6'3". He's really, really tall. Blazusiak takes a checkered flag, number 111. That's the main event. He's happy in Las Vegas, Nevada.
The night started off rocky for the winner. Blazusiak comes away with the win, but a crash since the Vegas round is going to take him out of the leaderboard. Let's go down and talk with Terry Boyd and find out more on Taddy's condition.
Kurt, Taddy had a big crash, some serious damage to his face.
Yeah, he crashed last weekend, warming up for this race at another event in Washington, and he smashed his face up really badly. He's broken the cheekbones, eye socket, and done a bunch of damage in his face.
Some of the extent of the injuries, too, involved a lot of metal plates having to be put into his face. Can you explain to us exactly what happened?
Yeah, he's had metal plates inserted in both of his cheekbones and also his eye socket. You know, it was a long operation. It was about 4 hours, and but the doctor said that the prognosis is good for a full recovery.
Thanks, Kurt, and thank you, Terry, and we certainly send our best to Taddy Blazusiak. Let's look now at Guthrie. We're back in Oklahoma. 7,200 people in the stands, 8th of a mile EnduroCross track, 11 obstacles, the longest track in this series. It's unbelievable. Let's go down to Terry Boyd for the E3 Spark Plug behind-the-scenes look.
I know you're probably sitting there in your living room right now going, what's it like to take a lap at an EnduroCross track? Well, we brought in Stillwater, Oklahoma's very own cowboy, Kenny Bartram, to take us along for the ride. Kenny, obviously it all starts right here on the starting gate.
So we have the starting gate. It's actually a pretty short start. That first turn comes up pretty quick on you, a 180. Then you have 3 telephone poles with not much dirt to help you get up and over them. So they're actually a lot tougher than they look. A right 180 with a telephone pole right in the middle of it, and then a super steep step up with 2 telephone poles that have actually proved to get a couple people. Short straightaway, a right-hand sweeper, and then an angled telephone pole in the middle of a left-hander that's actually really, really tough. Big earth mover tires that actually look pretty gnarly, but they're real easy. A rock turn that, obviously you see it got this guy right in front of me. He hit a rock and it stopped him. And you come out of it directly onto a telephone pole. It's pretty tough. A little kind of a supercross section there with 3 single rollers. Another telephone pole in the middle of a corner, leading you into a telephone pole and 3 more single rollers with a telephone pole after it, and then into the water crossing. You have about 6 inches of water with softball-sized rocks in the middle of it, but you can't see the rocks because they're buried in the water. So it's, as it proves here, it's very tough to get through that. Come out with a little rise into a sand pit. You got a telephone pole at the end of the sand pit that you could barely see there. Another pole in the middle of a corner, and then the log double. Up, back down, back up, back down. Once those logs started getting wet, man, they are incredibly slick. Turn a left 180 and you do the exact same thing, up and down, then into the dreaded rock sections. There's 3 rock sections about 10 feet long that are incredibly hard, man. So many guys were getting hung up in these. I talked to Jeff Aaron, he made them all the way through and feet on the pegs, but then a log up and over, kind of a supercross step up here, turn left and you go up and over a concrete tunnel, and then you're right back onto the starting gate, and that's 1 full lap of the Guthrie EnduroCross.
David, what do you think of that track? Pretty bizarre?
I like it. You know, it is faster, but it's still, as you can see, very tight, really tricky.
That's Kyle Calderini, the fastest qualifier, number 809. That is number 52, Kyle Redmond, looking good, another young up-and-comer. And then we go to, this kid is tough. This guy, number 8, he's good. This is Colton Haker. He's a new Lucas Oil-sponsored rider.
Lucas Oil has stepped up the program, and obviously with the TV show, but with me as well. And it's going to help out a lot. This is the first help I've ever gotten, and I've always just been with a family thing with my dad and I, and it's always worked out really well, and this EnduroCross thing has opened it up for me. And Lucas Oil stepped in to help me do my training during the week and get me to the races, and this adds another factor to my confidence, and my confidence is pretty high right now.
As we head into expert qualifier number 1, 4 laps, I can relate to Colton. You know, I was a privateer myself for a long time, started getting that help. It adds a little pressure, but makes you take yourself a little bit more seriously.
Now there's a lineup for heat number 1. Again, as you said, it's 4 laps. Now, Kyle Calderini rode the amateur race today. He's got to be a little bit tired, but he does know this track.
That was a good idea for him to get in those extra laps, but, you know, towards the end of that main event, I think his tongue may be in the spokes.
And here we go with expert qualifier number 1. Heat number 1, 4 laps through a very tough track, 1/8 of a mile long. They go into the first left-hand turn, and look out, it looks like Calderini almost gets a hole shot. Yes, he does. Calderini takes the lead. Calderini is out in front, number 809.
Smart move by Calderini, just let Colton Haker have that hole shot. He knew he would go wide, ducked underneath him. He's got the lead now, and you know, as I'm looking at the early portion of this racetrack, where your ability really needs to be strong is racing from obstacle to obstacle. Get there quick, get over it, and accelerate away.
Now, you had some pretty bizarre obstacles in Supercross racing, David, but I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, they've got everything, alligators in the water hole to get these guys have to get through.
Well, you know, there's a lot of telephone poles, and I've been over some of those. My dad used to put those into the Daytona Supercross, so I know how slippery they can get later on. I've noticed that the dual exhaust pipes, I want to point that out from our leader, Calderini. That's a 250F 4-stroke, the smaller of the 2 bikes.
And as we talked earlier, these can be 2 strokes or 4 strokes. It's up to the rider.
Of course, you know, for anybody that's new to this, I don't mean the size of the motorcycle, I mean the size of the engine. So it's amazing that he's able to get out front with a little bit less horsepower. But having a lot of horsepower, it's a heavier engine, a little bit more, not quite as nimble of a motorcycle. You see these riders already having problems with the rocks. But as long as you can get that power down and work with that lighter bike, I think the smaller engine could be an advantage.
Colton Haker, number 8, currently running in second place in this first heat. Number 809, Calderini out in front. Haker keeping him within sight right behind him. And then in third spot, that's number 52. We talked about him earlier, Kyle Redmond. Don't go away, because coming up, qualifier number 1, the final laps. And can Colton Haker catch Kyle Calderini?
Don't let this baby face fool you. That $50,000 is going in my pocket.
This show is brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. And Arnell Carriers, 1 call, 1 carrier. Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you in part today by Super Clean. Not just clean, super clean. Welcome back to Maxxis EnduroCross, presented by Lucas Oil at the Lazy E Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. In the final laps, David, this looks like a tough track.
You know, I'm pretty impressed with what Kyle's doing out front on that 250F. Not as much power as the other guys, but he seems to be making it work for him, especially in the tight stuff. Whoa.
Colton Haker's got a problem, the Lucas Oil rider, with that 2-stroke. He has got... David, this is a tough break for him as he goes on the rocks.
He might not make the main event. They only take the top 2. You can see he's like, he knows it's over at this point. He fell in the water section earlier. I don't know if that could be...
Could have sucked water into the air filter. That could have been a problem, David.
Maybe. You know, bikes don't like water.
No, they don't.
Leader Kyle is getting through it no problem. You can hear the distinctive sound of that 250F twin pipe. It's not as fast on the long straightaways or the start, but he's making it work for him. Look at the lead he has now over Redmond.
That's number 52, Kyle Redmond on the KTM. And remember, the first two go to the main event. And there is Calderini out in front. He is smoother than a mayonnaise sandwich. In that rock section, I can't believe. Look at him go through the rock section, David. That is really tough.
I like what he does. He's going, look, I'm probably going to end up dabbing through here anyway and having to put my foot down. So he just decides, I'll just jump out, put my feet down, and get ahead of the game. Colton Haker back in action, and Redmond now having problems.
Yeah, so. Redmond in the rock section. That's very. And here comes Colton Haker. He's come back alive. We thought he was out of it completely, but now it's Redmond who's out. And here comes number 112, and that's Jesse Robinson.
That's what's great about EnduroCross. We talked about it at round 1 in Vegas. You never know until you get to the finish line, and it's proving it here again in Heat 1. Colton Haker has got a chance to make the main event. He's got to make a pass to get there. And I think, he talked about the new sponsorship. The pressure that adds is working for him right now. He is desperate to put that bike in the main event.
The telephone pole almost takes out Colton Haker, but he saves it. He's going for second spot. Now, second spot is number 112, Jesse Robinson on the Kawasaki. He's got to pass Robinson to go to the main. Look at this. The obstacles are unbelievable. Haker is riding like a madman, trying to catch Robinson as they head for the checkered flag here in the final lap, and he passes him. Haker takes second place, and Robinson is sitting in third saying, what happened to me, as they head for the water obstacle.
That was a little bit of a gift for Haker. If Robinson went wide right there, I think he thought he had just enough room to be able to get a run at the next obstacle, but it bit him. And the leader has been bitten.
He certainly have. That's Kyle Calderini is stuck in the rocks. He's holding on to the lead, but can he hold on till the checkered flag? Because Haker's coming up on him.
I think it's safe to say, Larry, he doesn't like that section.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't like it either, David. And the checkered flag comes out, and Kyle Calderini struggles to... And look out, second. Haker just right in front of Jesse Robinson and finishes second, goes to the main event. Got a ticket to ride in the main.
You could hear him when he went by laughing, and he's stoked at that effort.
He is, no question about that. Here's the results. Kyle Calderini takes heat number 1. Haker second. They go to the main event.
What a wild ride for Haker. I mean, I don't know about you, Larry, but I just thought it was over for him, and so did he. Threw his hands out. What an emotional roller coaster. And the rest of those guys, that red square, that means they're going to the semi, and only the winner will transfer out of that.
Kyle Calderini, Cinderella story. Paid out of your own pocket to get here tonight. You win your heat, you're going to the big show.
Yeah, definitely great after what we had on the road down here, so.
Kyle, let me ask you about the logs over there. That's really been your top secret weapon. They're getting pretty slick. Are you going to be able to double them in the main event?
I hope so. I'm trying to keep it in the bag right now, and only when I need to pass.
So we go now to expert qualifier number 2, 99, Jamie Lanza on the Kawasaki. He's ready to go.
He's super aggressive. Max is serving him well. Another rider expect to improve his results from Vegas is this guy right here, Nick Brozovic. He won his heat race in Vegas, but struggled in the main.
Start seems to be one of my strong suits, so hopefully, you can just get out front and then just ride. And it's going to be tougher to make passes, I think, because like in Vegas, it was hard to pass, but it was easy because people were crashing and stuff like that. So I think there's going to be a lot more racing this time, more like a motocross. So I think it'll be good.
Well, let's see what happens in expert qualifier number 2. Again, 4 laps. David, this looks interesting.
Well, what's interesting is these guys had a chance to watch what went on in that first round. If they learned anything, it's never to give up. Jamie Lanza right there is one of those guys. He's aggressive, charges the whole way, as well as Kroknoff.
And Nick Brozovic. These are the riders to watch in this heat number 2. Again, the first 2 go to the main. The rest have to go to the semis, which they do not want to do, especially on this track. Heat number 2, we are set to go. 4 laps through the mud, the blood, the beer. Here we go, David. Here's the start. And out in front on the outside. Oh, and he's down. That's number 40. A tough break for Matthew Henderson on the Kawasaki. He hit the ground.
I think he needs to run back to that bike and get going because, as you can see, riders are already having problems. He can move his way up in the pack. You see, he was just getting going. And these guys are, about a third of the way into this lap.
I cannot believe this track. On the inside, they look at, that's number 27, Wallace Palmer, and he stops the other riders behind him and comes back in the race. He gets, again, David, that's what we're talking about. They don't give up. They've got to get back up in EnduroCross and keep going.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good start for Lanza either, and even though he fell in that corner briefly, he's up quick. And you can see him get through the water right now. Part of what set up that whole problem in that corner back there was the fact that the leader, Brozovic, took his time. Lanza down again in the water. That does not feel good. There's water everywhere, and you're out of your sync. He's trying to get his feet back on the pegs, getting his groove, and the rider's just climbing up his back.
Here's the battle for third. That's 356 Ryan Rogers and number 12 Bobby Prochnow, and they're running in third as they head into the rocks.
Got through that pretty clean that time, and then so you know, I don't mean to laugh. I cannot believe how tricky this section is. I mean, you just go from logs, and those are the biggest telephone poles I've ever seen. Then straight back into more rocks. Very difficult to get a rhythm here. You know that a lot of the riders felt like, oh, this is a faster track, and it's still technical. It still has all the complications Vegas did.
You know, it's like Cowboy Kenny said earlier, there's rocks under the water you can't see, so you're fighting the rocks, but you've also got the water, which means your bike is going to be slippery as you head for the next obstacle.
Wally just launching those tires. I don't even know if he meant to. I know he didn't mean to do that. He tried to launch over that log, and you know, anybody that's ever ridden over a log at an angle knows it doesn't work. You've got to get as straight as possible to get through there, and then putting one in a corner like that, it's not a corner anymore.
At an odd angle. That's number 27 Wallace Palmer, who we saw crash in the first turn. There's number 3, and that's Brozovic, who's currently leading this heat number 2.
Just like he started off in Vegas, no problems with the heat race. You can see behind him, nice big lead, so he can afford to take his time, which is great on a track like this.
And number 3, Brozovic, is on a 2-stroke, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, you know, I've never had a chance to try any of this, but if I could, I would like to do the 2-stroke, I think. I think it'd be lighter, a little bit more nimble, a little easier to keep the bike running. If you should happen to stall, it would start easier. I could be wrong, but the 2-stroke seems like it would work well in these conditions. It's not working well for Wally right there, stuck on the rocks. I think the 2-wheel drive would work great for that situation.
He's having a tough time.
He's going to get the camera off me, man. Film me when I'm doing good.
Nick Brozovic, number 3, out in front, looking smooth, no problems at all. Coming up next, expert qualifier number 2, the final laps. Don't touch that remote.
This is Jamie Lanza. I still don't know how I'm paying for my next semester of college, so you can count on me being up front tonight for the 50 grand.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you in part today by E3 Spark Plugs with Diamond Fire technology. And we're back at Guthrie, Oklahoma, the Lazy Arena, the Maxxis EnduroCross presented by Lucas Oil. And there's the man in charge, number 3, Nick Brozovic, still in the lead in the final laps of this qualifier number 2.
See, like I said, he was able to take his time a little bit. He's able to go wide in that corner, get a run at the next section. You got somebody right on your tail, you cannot afford to do that, as we saw in Heat 1. Lanza right here, he's not into qualifying position. Expect to see him looking a little bit more aggressive than that to try to get in there, but still not over yet.
White flag comes out, and we are looking at the final lap, and Brozovic leading as he has led from the beginning.
Nice run through the rocks by Lanza. He is starting to pick up the pace. He sees that white flag. It's now or never. You just not want to have to go to the semi or the LCQ. That's where things get weird and people start running into people, crashes. You just want to make it straight out of the main event. Prochnow knows this as well. He knows he's got that pressure, and you can see him protecting it inside right there, just to be sure.
Prochnow in second and Lanza running in third, but trying to catch up to him. And anything can happen, David, as we've seen in EnduroCross. You never know what's going to happen. There's Prochnow running in second spot, number 12.
The advantage Prochnow has over Lanza is a little more height. See, he can...
Whoa! No! Oh, my goodness! And there goes Prochnow down.
Advantage Lanza.
Yes, Lanza takes second spot, heads for the checkered flag.
I was getting ready to talk about how him being a little shorter was going to cause him problems like Wally's having right here through the rocks, but Lanza started to apply that pressure, and I have a feeling that Prochnow may have rushed that corner just a little bit too much, feeling that heat. It really turned the tables. Now Lanza appears to be going directly to the main event.
Yep, it looks like that. Brozovic in front, Lanza running second, and that's all that counts in this race because the first two go to the main event.
Leader. This is smooth sailing the whole way. I don't even know if he worked up a sweat, Larry.
I don't think he did. I think he had no problem from the beginning.
Lanza did. He earned it.
There's number 99, Lanza, taking the checkered flag for second. So Nick Brozovic takes home the checkered. He will go to the main event along with Jamie Lanza. The rest will go to the semis and possibly the last chance qualifier. Oh, you would not want to be out there in their position.
Great job for Lanza to sneak in there to the main event, and smooth sailing for our winner. I bet he's not quite as out of breath as first heat winner Calderini.
Next step, getting towards that $50,000 three-race series bounty. All you had to do is get into the main event. Great ride, Nick.
Yeah, that's my plan. I want to win that, get that money, so I had a good ride, and hopefully I can do it again in the main.
Track's getting really tough. The water's getting all over the place.
Yeah, those logs are really slick. We were doubling those before, and now you definitely can't double, so it's going to get tougher and tougher.
Which sets the stage for expert heat number 3, and here is Cowboy Kenny. We saw him going around the track earlier, David, with a helmet camera. He's going to have to go a lot faster now.
All that crazy stuff he's done with Travis Pastrana. I think that he was pretty skilled at this, but he's got to get around these guys, Dietrich and Huffman.
I'm feeling good. I rode good in Vegas, but I wasn't really happy with my main event result, and definitely learned a couple things from that race, and looking to correct those little mistakes and take the win here.
Finished 5th in Las Vegas. David, what does that tell you?
Well, that tells me if he's not happy with it and he's talking about winning this one, that that's a very real possibility. But to do it, he's got to get around these guys. Dietrich is fast, his teammate, and Jeff Aaron, that two-wheel drive, he's going to be a force.
Aaron is so big he could eat hay. He's a big, tall guy, about 6'4". We go now to heat number 3, expert heat number 3, 4 laps. Going to be an interesting race. And I said before, David, this looks like a main event.
It does, and I promise you the main event's going to be even better. Huffman waiting until the last minute to put those goggles on. Keeps your face cool, keeps those goggles from fogging up.
A lot of water here in the arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and it makes the log slippery and the rock slippery. And here we go, the main event. They go into the first turn, left-hander. Let's see what happens. And out in front, it's number 2, Damon Huffman. On the inside, Huffman out in front, number 2. Right behind him, that's number 4, Jeff Aaron, the big trials rider from Southern California.
Bartram hanging around the back of the pack right there. It's tougher because you've got to deal with everybody else and the lines they choose, and if they mess up, then that becomes your problem as well. So
this is a diabolical track, David Bailey. The big tires. Look out, on the inside goes, that's Aaron going out in front.
Just like Vegas, man, just tall on the bike, the quick dab. Oh, Huffman right back at him. That's what we didn't see from Huffman at the first round. He wasn't quite aggressive enough, and to be able to make that pass right back, that takes Aaron out of his groove, already loses another position.
Through the water hole, as we said before, the rocks underneath make it very difficult. You can't see the rocks. A lot of the rocks underneath, that puts you down. Whoa, rider having problems. But out in front is number 2, Damon Huffman, followed by number 15, and that's Ricky Dietrich.
You know, as stacked as this heat race is, and with Aaron on their tail already making a bid for the lead once, this is a really strong showing for these teammates, Huffman and Dietrich. If you remember the first round in Vegas, and in case you didn't see it, I'll bring you up to speed. Huffman had the lead to the last lap, and his teammate Dietrich was actually in the way. There he is. And it caused Huffman to drop to second. Dietrich had a tough time. They were both in the top 5 in the main event, but this is a much better way to start round 2.
Huffman has made his mark in Supercross, 125 champion, and very good in Supercross, obviously, in motocross. And then Aaron, the trials rider, has done extremely well in trials. So this is what's interesting about EnduroCross, David. You've got all these different types of racing, and they all come together. Coming up in just a few moments, the qualifier number 3, the final laps. Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Damon Huffman. I got diapers and shoes to buy, so the $50,000 and the Triple Crown is all mine.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you in part by K&N Air Filters, the world's best air filter. Welcome back to the Maxxis EnduroCross presented by Lucas Oil at the Lazy E Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And David Bailey, there's anything but lazy out here. These guys have got to be on their toes 110% of the time.
You know, I've seen a little bit of video footage on the internet of these guys at their test track. I mean, they take this very serious. You know, this is nothing new to them, even though they see a little feet off the pegs here and there. They expect that. See a casual wipe of the goggles, just get that water out so they can see well. But But as casual as those guys are and pulling out a little bit of a lead over Aaron right here, I see that as a major problem for him. Remember, he was second at the first round. After this round with Blazusiak out, who won, I mean, he could take over the points lead, but this is no way to go about it. He's going to be going to the semi unless Huffman or Dietrich make a huge mistake.
Right, Huffman in front, Dietrich second, and Jeff Aaron running in third spot. There's number 4, Aaron, on that two-wheel drive KTM.
You know, I'm just going to guess. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. It's this track versus the Vegas tighter track with that two-wheel drive, but I just don't know if it's working for him as well here. Too many long straightaways, too much time between the obstacles. In the tight stuff, he's as good as he ever was, but he's not quite as aggressive and as sharp in the longer stuff.
Meanwhile, the battle for fourth. Look at these guys go. Oh, my goodness, that's Cowboy Kenny Bartram, a veteran of the X Games. He's having a tough time getting over that log, and that could just about do it for Bartram. Tough break. That gives Ty Davis a pretty good slot in third spot. Meanwhile, out in front, it's Damon Huffman. Right behind him as they go through the water, that's Ricky Dietrich, number 15 in the Kawasaki. That's his teammate. That's Huffman's teammate as he's sitting in second. The question, David Bailey, I have, is he going to sit in second and just try to coast and get to the main event?
I think so, and here's why. Because, number one, Huffman is putting together a solid race as he said he would, and for Dietrich to go and make that pass, that might be the only place that he can really get by Damon Huffman, so why show him now? Keep those cards close to your chest till the main event.
Yeah, there's no money for winning this heat race. This is heat race number 3, and we are in the final lap now as Ricky Dietrich, number 15, heads for this checkered flag, and Huffman in front. He had a problem there, it looked like, David.
Yeah, you have to hit those slippery obstacles straight. Otherwise, it's going to be feet off the pegs and get a little out of control, and then you're kind of fighting things, and it wears you out. And it robs your confidence a little bit, too. The thing about confidence-wise is Dietrich has been able to match Huffman's pace pretty closely this whole time, so, if he has another opportunity like he's got now in the main event, expect him to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, but Huffman's got this one in the bag, and so Dietrich's doing, I would say, a very smart thing. Sitting in second, he's got a transfer spot to the main. He's going to head for the checkered flag and then get ready for the main, right?
Oh, absolutely. Both these guys are going to be happy with their performance. They're probably going to want to go back and look at the lap time to see how that compares. And from what I've seen so far, it's 1:14, excuse me. That's about a second faster than what we've seen in the previous 2 heats. Not that much.
Meanwhile, Jeff Aaron running in third spot. He'll have to go to the semi, which Jeff does not want to do. Looking for the checkered flag. Damon Huffman picking his way through the rocks beautifully, and he is so smooth. Oh, a little bit of a problem there.
I was getting ready to call him Jeff Aaron, but he dabbed at the end there.
So Damon Huffman takes expert qualifier number 3, and we'll go to the main event. Second spot is Ricky Dietrich, number 15, his Kawasaki teammate. And in third spot, tough break for Jeff Aaron, who was in second spot in points coming into this round. He's going to have to ride the semis, and big Jeff Aaron is not going to be happy about that.
It wasn't that he rode bad. He just needs to be a little bit quicker, and the problem is that you get into the semis and everyone just goes crazy. And you get the wild card, Kenny Bartram. He could really shake things up.
That's interesting. Ty Davis does not qualify. Aaron and Davis must ride the semis. That's going to be a tough break.
While those guys get set for that semi race, let's go down and hear from our winner, Damon Huffman.
Damon Huffman, a little bit more like a Supercross race out there, albeit there weren't ever any boulders on a Supercross track like the ones you're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. Supercross, if there's a rock like that big, you pick it up and throw it off the course. Here, you see a rock and it's just part of the deal, but having a great time doing this. This is the second part of my career, and Monster Kawasaki's been great to me. I got a great machine, and just looking for our main event win.
We'll be back for Expert Semi Highlights. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you in part by General Tire. Let's take a look back now at the semi number 1 highlights. Here's the start.
It was Dylan Murdoch, number 54 from the outside, closes everybody off, stuns it up on the nose to stop for the inside.
But that didn't last long, David, as number 113, Eric Rogers, takes the lead, and he gets stalled right there in that left-hander. And here comes number 42 right behind him, and that's Eric Roden.
Roden, a nice move to dive to the inside. It was a great idea, but Rogers, it reminds me a little bit of Lanza. He's small in stature, but he's aggressive, and he just kept fighting for it.
Eric Roden, number 42. Now watch what happened here. Roden goes by on the inside and passes 113, Eric Rogers. And can Roden hold on as they go through the mud hole? Rogers got hung up, and here's number 112, Jesse Robinson, coming back in the fray.
Yeah, Rogers just had so much of a challenge the whole way, and not just the track, but other riders. But I admire the fact that he didn't give up, but it just was too little too late as Roten took the win.
Roten goes direct into the main event. Everybody else, and that's an interesting lineup. Redmond and Rogers, the rest of them will have to go to the last chance qualifier, and believe me, David, they don't want to do that.
No, I mean, to get right to the main event out of the heat race is the best scenario, because the track is getting more and more difficult, more and more slick, as you'll see in Semi 2. Those logs are getting harder and harder to deal with, the rocks are moving around, and these guys are getting tired.
Number 27 takes a hole shot here on Semi number 2.
Wally Palmer struggled in the heat race, especially in that rock pile, but he had enough of a lead right there in that early going to be able to take his time and go wide, but starting to get some heat right here.
Number 356 trying to stay with him. That's Ryan Rogers on the Yamaha, and he's stuck up on that log.
Yeah, you see Proc now just trying everything he can to make it through, getting hung up with Barber there. Neither one of these guys had anything for Wally out front. I mean, he's doing his best Nick Way impression right here. Those of you that follow motocross, supercross, Nick Way on the KTM number 27. Watch Wally across the finish line. He wants to make sure that he wins this thing. Watch what happens.
He's wide open.
Look out. Right into the wall. He just gets off. Hey, I don't care. My mechanic can fix all that. I'm in the main.
He goes to the main event. So Wally Palmer, the only rider in that semi to go to the main event. The rest of them will have to go to the last chance qualifier, like Proc now, or Barber and Bennett and Rogers. That's a tough break for them.
Larry, all those big names that are not making the cut in these semis are making that last chance qualifier look like a main event.
Semi number 3, this is what it looked like. Now Jeff Aaron, number 4, and Ty Davis, number 17, both frantically trying to get to that main event. And there's number 17, followed by Jeff Aaron. So Davis and Aaron in front, and Aaron, in essence, is points leader now with Blazusiak out, right, David?
That's the way it goes, and you know that he's feeling the pressure right there. Getting hung up behind Davis in that corner, he loses a position, and you can feel it slipping away.
Yeah,
he's got to make it happen.
He's got to fight his way back up in front. Now, Jeff Aaron, the Trials champion, is 36 years old, ladies and gentlemen, fighting people that are 10, 15 years younger than him.
The only problem he's got is the leader, Ty Davis, is also older and has been around a while, has that experience, and is really putting the pressure on Aaron. You can see right there, a rare mistake. Takes him a while to get the bike fired, and you can tell from his body language, he knows he's blown this one. He's just trying to get it together before that last chance qualifier.
And that's where he doesn't want to be. Jeff Aaron just soldiering around here for the checkered flag. Well, there goes the winner, Ty Davis. He goes to the main event, and again, Jeff Aaron will have to ride the last chance qualifier along with Joyner and Wineland and Kenny the Cowboy Bartram.
You know, Aaron's got to be frustrated, but at the same time, he's one of the older guys. He's mature, and he knows his teammate came out of the LCQ to win Vegas.
Jeff Aaron, multi-time trials champion. I don't want to say struggling. This track is tough tonight, but you got to go to the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, you know, I've made just too many mistakes out there. You know, I started off in my first race pretty good and passed into the lead, but then the Kawasaki boys went right past me and just missed out on qualifying for the main.
So here it is, the last chance qualifier, the last chance for these guys to go to the main event. What's going through his mind? Jeff Aaron right here, David.
All kinds of pressure, but you could tell he came to the line, all business. He got the start he needed to get, but I think what happened here to him was he just figured, okay, got the lead, great, right where I need to be, and he just lost his focus a little bit. He knows better than that. That's a simple obstacle. I think he just got ahead of himself right there.
You don't expect Jeff Aaron to make a mistake like that. He went into that log and he went down, and that was it. And out in front is number 52, Kyle Redmond, in this last chance qualifier. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, only the winner goes to the main event. Everybody else goes home on the Greyhound bus.
Aaron tried. I mean, he didn't just give up. He tried to get back in there, but you can see he was always kind of catching up at the awkward parts of the racetrack. A nice little save right there, but just not enough. You could tell in his body language, once again, that he knew he had blown it. And although he's still trying to make passes and give it a strong effort to the end, no chance for the 50 grand and no chance for the potential points lead he could have come away with here.
That's right, because Taddy was out, and so he could take over the lead, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. That's what happened in the last chance qualifier, and going to the main event, the final rider, Kyle Redmond, number 52.
The big story is Blazusiak missing in action. Jeff Aaron doesn't make the main event. It opens it up for everyone else to get that 50 grand and maybe take over the points lead. And kind of surprised Jeff didn't make it from Bailey, Colorado, and everything.
Jeff Aaron, it's got to be a little disappointing, man. You had your opportunities. You're not going into the main event here tonight. What happened, man?
I just crashed. You know, went over the log a little too hot. Just tucked the front end, and then just didn't get up fast enough because the whole pack was right there.
Don't go away, because coming up is the main event, a knockdown, drag-out brawl. Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you in part by Jim Beam, the spirit of racing. We're back for the main event of the Maxxis EnduroCross, presented by Lucas Oil from the Lazy Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. The riders are set for the main event, but two very important riders are not here. Taddy Blazusiak and last year's winner, David Knight.
I guess it's a good thing because it's just less competition, but at the same time, it's kind of a bummer, you know. I mean, if I win tonight, everyone's just going to be like, well, you know, that's because Taddy got hurt, you know, you won. And that's not how I like to win. You know, I want to go out there and beat those guys straight up.
Well, with Taddy out, it definitely creates some confidence booster with me. And with everyone else out there too, everyone, see the light in the end of the tunnel.
I felt coming in, because I raced here last year, I didn't feel that Taddy was going to do as good as he would have at maybe Vegas, just because of the track. Because I knew it's a bigger arena and they have more room to build stuff, so it was going to be more open. But I mean, he's obviously a talented rider, so he would have done good.
Well, the riders are ready, the fans are ready here in Guthrie, Oklahoma, but David Bailey, one rider who's not ready is Jeff Aaron, not in the race.
I'll tell you from experience, Larry, it's no fun to sit and watch a main event you should have been in, especially when there's an extra 50 grand on the line. So Dietrich and also this rider right here, Colton Haker, all the new sponsorship, he can feel it. You can sense it in his interviews as well.
Number 3, Nick Brozovic. Jamie Lanza, number 99. They've got to be favorites in this main event. Ty Davis, number 17, the motocrosser. Kyle Calderini, won earlier, number 809. Bill Smodge, number 551 on the KTM. Kyle Redmond, number 52, also on the KTM. One of the favorites, number 2, Damon Huffman. Kawasaki, his teammate Ricky Dietrich, number 15, also on the Kawasaki. Colton Haker, the new Lucas Oil rider, number 8. Eric Roten, number 42. Wally Palmer, number 27, rounds out the field for this main event from Guthrie, Oklahoma.
I've noticed that the riders aren't favoring the inside like they did in Vegas, and the reason for that is because it's a little bit longer start. You see Huffman and Dietrich next to each other in the middle.
The start underway, and going into the first turn, it is number 15 taking the lead. That's Dietrich. And Dietrich's thinking of that $50,000 Triple Crown win. If he wins tonight, then the next 2 races, he's got $50,000 in the bank.
So Huffman right back under his teammate who got him in the first corner. He gets him back. Looking good for those guys out front. Colton Haker really aggressive right now. Look at all the body English, just trying to make things happen early on. I don't know if there's room to do that. It cost him a little bit, but you've got to be aggressive. There's time to recover.
And Dietrich goes off the track and recovers back into 3rd place because Brozovic goes into 2nd. Nick Brozovic, number 3, into 2nd.
And a lot like the leader Huffman, Brozovic has been pretty calm and cool and cost him a position right there, but it's still a long ways to go. Dietrich really riding aggressive. He trains with Ryan Hughes. Those of you that don't know Ryan, he's nicknamed the Rhino. That fits him perfectly. Dietrich is strong, and he's going to fight for every position.
Damon Huffman out in front, as we said, a seasoned veteran. Here he comes, number 2. That's Damon Huffman, Supercross 125 champion. He's looking good here to take over the lead.
Nice balance right there by Brozovic to go back after. Oh! And right over his bike, Colton Haker's able to, good reflexes to not run over the bike and get hung up there. So now he picks up the position. Top 3, Huffman, Dietrich, and now Haker. He doesn't look old enough to ride this.
Yeah, he looks about 12 years old.
He's actually 18. Something I'm noticing, look at the tires of Damon Huffman's bike and these guys. Look how soft, it almost looks like they have a flat tire in some spots. They run a lot lower air pressure to try to hook up over those logs, the tires, and the rocks.
Give them a lot more traction, correct?
Yeah, some of these guys might be using a mousse in there that's a funky formula, so you never actually get a flat tire. A lot of the desert racers use it anyway, so it's nothing new to them, but it does offer you a lot better traction.
Traction is what they need because they're going through the water, then on a very slippery log or 2, then over a jump. It's got to be very difficult. The main event happening now, it's 6 laps, and right now Damon Huffman is in the driver's seat, number 2 on the Kawasaki.
Yeah, the teammates looking really good out front. They're used to each other's pace. They know each other's capabilities, who's going to get tired, who's not, the kind of mistakes they're prone to make, and I'm pretty stoked with Haker right now. The young kid, man, he is keeping the pressure on Dietrich right here.
Showing a lot of maturity. Colton Haker, the Lucas Oil sponsored rider, just picked up sponsorship 3 weeks before.
Now, he had a good line back there too, and rather than just hit the log straight, he used the rock to transition up onto that log. So he's picking some good lines right now and riding a lot more within himself than he did in the heat race, where he just took off and was going a little bit too crazy, made some mistakes. He recovered to get into the main, but It looks like he learned from his mistakes right here and he's able to keep that pressure on Dietrich. And that's what you don't want, Larry. Pressure will force you to do things
make
you
a mistake.
can't do.
Yeah, I once asked a professional rider, so what do you do if a rider doesn't make a mistake in front of you? He says, you make him make a mistake.
Yeah, create your own luck. Keep that pressure on. They're not that far behind Huffman.
No.
He knows it too. He knows if he gets hung up in one spot or when they start to get into lapped riders and he's got to wait perhaps to take the line he wants, those guys are on it.
We're watching the battle for second, ladies and gentlemen. Number 15, that's Ricky Dietrich in second, and right behind him the rookie, Colton Haker, in number 8, running in third spot. There he is, right behind him as they go through the sand.
You see behind Haker now, they've checked out from 4.
Coming up, the final laps from Guthrie, Oklahoma, and the question is, can Damon Huffman withstand the pressure of Ricky Dietrich and Colton Haker? Welcome back to the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, brought to you today by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. Welcome back to Maxxis EnduroCross main event action, presented by Lucas Oil from the Lazy E Arena in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And there's the man, David, number 2, Damon Huffman. Can he hold on for a few more laps?
Now, his teammate's pretty close. Right now, he's got major problems getting over that log. Dietrich goes by his teammate, so I go back to, I love EnduroCross because you never know till the end. And I think even Damon thought he had it. You're asking me a kind of rhetorical question right there, but man, you just can't take your eyes off of this or something changes. And Hager's not that far behind, just sneaking in the picture in that corner.
Huffman not only thought he had it, he had the money in the bank, and then he spent it, and then all of a sudden, coming by him like a snake oil salesman tonight, Ricky Dietrich, and Dietrich's got the lead. And Huffman is riding over his head. He's making mistakes. Oh, Dietrich stalls for just a moment.
That caused Huffman to stall a little bit. Huffman was actually so close to him over the tires, he ran into the back of him. Great save. Those long legs really paid off there, and I'm seeing a change in Huffman, a little sense of, I don't want to get second. I want 50 grand. I want a chance at it. I want the points lead.
That's exactly what he's thinking about, but it is Ricky Dietrich in front and Huffman back behind him. We're looking for the white flag and then the checkered flag. Let's go down to Terry Boyd, the rock section outside the finish line. Terry.
Damon Huffman's been said he's struggling with the rocks all season long. It's already jumped up and bit him. Here he comes again. Huffy on the gas. Can he catch Dietrich?
That's the question. Damon Huffman going after Ricky Dietrich. We're in the final lap. The white flag coming out, David. The pressure is on Dietrich.
A minute to go, and I'll tell you what, they have dropped their lap times by 3 seconds. Dietrich is running scared. Huffman is all over him. I don't see Huffman make mistakes very often, but he's making them now. Whatever it takes is on his mind. Whatever it takes.
He is riding like Charlie Manson. Look at him going after Dietrich. Dietrich 15, the crowd standing and cheering. Huffman number 2, the final lap.
Oh, Dietrich took a little chance right there to get straight for that log, and that's what Huffman needed to see, to give him confidence, to see his teammate trying to decide, what should I do, inside or outside? The pressure is on, but Huffman, look at the chances he's taking. He wants this so bad. The problem is that Dietrich, his teammate, knows his moves, and he will not let that door come open an inch, or Huffman will barge right through it.
2 lines, 2 different lines that go around the track, and now Dietrich opens up that lead. Huffman goes after him, but it's the final lap.
Oh, man, that was close. Huffman, you can tell how bad he wanted it. It's over now. Checkered flag is coming out.
Few blocks to go. Dietrich holding on. Can he hold on for the win? Oh, Huffman slows up. Both feet come off the pegs. Dietrich heads for the checkered flag. He's got it. Ricky Dietrich wins Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Nice ride for Haker. He can probably hear the crowd going crazy. He's like, man, I sure would love to be a part of that, but a 3rd place finish. Oh, no.
No, let's see what happens. Can he get up and get started? Yes, he does.
Good recovery.
And Haker finishes 3rd. For the first podium finish is his young career, and boy, he's happy about that. Wow, what a race, what a battle. Dietrich takes over the lead, Huffman 2nd, and a great showing by the young man, Colton Haker, 18 years old, finishes 3rd.
And Nick Brozovic, another 4th place finish, Mr. Consistency. That could pay off later on.
I'm curious to see what Ricky Dietrich has to say. Let's go down to our colleague, Terry Boyd, on the floor with Ricky Dietrich.
Your champion and the only rider with a chance at $50,000, Ricky Dietrich. What a battle!
Oh man, that was amazing. I got the whole shot out there, and Huffman was being super aggressive, and got me in the first couple corners, and I was just following him. And I mean, we were running about the same speed, and I was just like, all right, dude, it's your race to lose from here on out. And sure enough, he made a mistake, capitalized on it, and couldn't get me from there. So I'm so pumped. Got to thank Monster Energy, Kawasaki, the whole team. Dunlop tires, Moose gear, Scott goggles, Shoei helmets. Everybody, man, thanks a lot.
Man, you had to know him once you got in front of him, though. He was coming, man. That throttle was twisted, and he was doing everything he could.
He rear-ended me over the Dunlop tires, dude. I'm in the air, and I feel this bump from behind. I'm like, holy moly. I mean, we are bumping to pass out here, so I definitely had my guard up out there, and oh no, it all came together.
You're the only guy with a shot at 50 grand. You got to be on top of the world.
Feels great.
Let's take a look at the point standings after round 2. Ricky Dietrich in front, 51 points. Damon Huffman, 10 points back, 41. A tie for third, Colton Hager, 36. Nick Brozovic, 36. So that's it from Guthrie, Oklahoma. I'm Larry Huffman for David Bailey and Terry Boyd. We hope to see you next time on the Lucas Motorsports Hour, produced by Lucas Oil Studios. This show brought to you in part by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. R&L Carriers, one call, one carrier. And Team Lucas, taking your company's marketing to the finish line.